Hello and welcome to Beyond the Slipstream. I'm Matt. I'm here with my brother Justin, and we are getting into lots more bike racing. Um, what a wonderful time of year when there are just one day races aplenty on both the men's and the women's sides. We got into a bunch of them this week on our main show, the Team Bus, and we are going to cover a few more here, starting with Binche Chimay Binche, a French race, one of the few non-Italian one-day races happening right now. And on Tuesday, we got both a men's and a women's race. No surprise on the women's side.
No.
Lorena Vibas, perfectly positioned, follows every attack in the last kilometer, and once she launches, nobody can keep up.
And
No surprise there.
and again, like seeing her in her team kit, so friggin' weird.
So strange. You know you're a superstar when riding in your regular team kit is bizarre.
No
People
kidding,
are,
dude. Like I can't even like imagine. Like I was like, why does she look weird? I was like, what is like? Wow, I couldn't place it, and then I finally was like, oh my god, I'm not used to seeing her in this kit. It's the
well,
kit.
basically, it's like she hasn't been in the team kit at all this year. Like she won the European Championships at the end of last year.
Correct.
So when this season started and the team had their newest iteration of the team kit, she was not in it. She wasn't wearing that jersey
That is correct.
and has not been wearing that jersey at all. I think the only time you would have seen her wearing it is if she won. Don't like if you're in the yellow jersey in the Tour de France and you win the stage, when you come out for your first podium presentation as the stage winner, don't you come out in your regular team kit?
I believe.
So I think that would have been the only situation where we had seen her in the regular team kit, because otherwise, yeah, it's not until she was no longer the European champion, that we got to see her there. And it was strange for sure. But, it wasn't strange seeing her crushing yet another sprint. That was her, what was it, 25th win of the year? Insane.
She won the gravel race too, which we'll get to here in a minute.
Yeah, or maybe that was the 25th one. Yeah, absolutely insane. Um,
She is the best sprinter in women's cycling. She's also a monster. Like she is formidable on the
oh,
bike. Like
absolutely.
seeing her next to Voss in the gravel race, like she's
Mhm.
a specimen, man. Like no
Absolutely.
joke.
Yeah, she's diesel. She's just got insane
And
top end
she's
speed.
yoked.
And she can get up, and she can get up climbs. Like she's absolutely just astounding. Um, sure, a lot of cool was back in this race and riding now for Fenix de Koonik, but was nowhere to be found. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Between Vibis and Pogacar, it's gonna be wild seeing how long the these two riders can stay in their ascendancy, their supremacy.
Yeah.
Um,
Because they
in the
are
men's
they
right.
they are they're in both cases they are a complete step ahead of the other one.
Hmm. Hmm. For sure.
Or I
In the
mean, of
men's, in the,
everybody else.
yeah, men's race. Again, it was kind of like the women's. I mean, it was always going to be a sprint finish in
Hmm.
both of these races. And you had some names here as well with Laporte, Van Poppel, Jordi Meus, all playing significant roles in the finish. Arnaud Delis was last year's winner, but I don't know. I don't think he was here this year. Um,
If he was a non-factor.
Yeah, and you saw Laporte get a pretty damn solid third place given how far back he came from, but in the end it was Jordi Meus all the way. He kind of was at the right place, right time for the last kilometer.
Laporte has looked so good in the latter half of the season. Like he is really getting back to form after struggling his basically the entire year that he wore the European jersey.
Right.
So It's really really great to see him coming to form. It's sad that it's so late in the season, but considering the moves that they've made at Visma, like I could see him being able to take a bigger role than what he has had to serve this year. So like, I really hope to see him, back in the fold. And I think pairing him up with Brennan for leadouts may be a killer combination
Yeah,
because
that could be really good actually.
he just really is like looking like the Christophe Laporte of old.
Well, he has one more year left on his contract with Visma Lisa Bike. He is 32. He will be 33 in December. Um, so no spring chicken.
But that's what I'm saying. Like put him in that like Ed Plankert type position.
But give him a couple opportunities here and
Absolutely.
there in some of these lesser one day races because he's still capable of winning, in my estimation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but Mayos executed it really, really well. Just kind of was just got himself right to the front when he needed to close the deal.
Yeah, and
Nobody could come
it was
around.
kind of like he was very patient in his run up, and once he launched, he was able to just get that bit of separation right at the end. It was a very good win for Jordy Mays.
Yes, I also wanted to call out the fact one of the pomp and circumstance things that I love about our beloved sport. This race saw the retirement of Adrian Petit, who's a rider that I'm not super familiar with, but nonetheless a well-known figure amongst the peloton, much beloved. And he got the bike salute, where
Mm-hmm.
everybody races up the bikes. I think Christoph got one of those like a week ago, Alexander Christoph, and um,
There was like three riders at Lombardia.
yeah, very cool. I love seeing that. My favorite part about this race, though, was when Carlton Kirby said Jordy Mayo's had, quote, one of the most aerodynamic haircuts on the planet. Um, but in his post-race interview, had a hat on, you couldn't see it, but it appears as though Mayo's shaved his head because it was like he had a beard, but then it stopped and you could see it like clean shaven going up to where the hat was. So I'm guessing he must have shaved his head.
I do like having Carlton Kirby on the call. I have enjoyed him the last couple of weeks. He's been on a few different races that I've watched.
Yeah, he's
Um,
fun. And I like the way I think in Lombardia he like did the first half and then handed it off to Rob Hatch and was like out and I was just like perfect.
I'm thinking that Hatch probably maybe had the first part and then took the big break in the middle and then came back in for the end.
Yeah, probably. All right, so moving on, we had then a couple of Italian one days. These were the Trofeo Tessile and Moda and the Trofeo Tessile and Moda Donne for the women. Couple of fun races here. In the men's side, UAE doing UAE things. Adam Yates this time gets to be the chosen one. He's got Jay Vine, Pavel Sivakov with him. Uh, Sivakov, they're just punching everybody else. Sivakov attacks off the front, 5Ks to go, takes this tutor guy with him, Matisse Rondell. Um, Yates bridges up to him, and now you got a 2-on-1. It's Yates and Sivakov versus Rondell, and very quickly, uh, uh, Rondell pops off the front, thinks he's gonna, be able to do something, and Sivakov just covers it, gets Yates back within. Yates gets back on with him, and then now Jay Vinebridge is back up, and him and Sivakov are working together against the other two solo guys back there. Um, and what I loved is 1.8 kilometers to go. Sivakov and Vine are together, and you can hear Sivakov say to Jay Vine, "Attack, attack, attack," which is kind of weird because Vine's charging hard to try to catch up with Yates and Rondell. He's like 12 seconds behind him. Um, and then uh, he does not catch him, and Yates Yates wins.
Yeah, I did not. This is not one of the races that I saw this week in all of the racing that I watched. But
Yeah, Yates and Rondell were in the front. They got to the super steep part of the climb. Rondell again tries to attack him, and Yates had some kind of gearing issue, it appeared, but he got back on, and they were just way too fast, the two of them, for Vine to get back on with him. And yeah, Rondell clearly did not have it against Yates. He didn't even really contest the sprint with him. He started off. And once again, Christian Scaroni sneaks in like another little fourth place, just gobbling up more points for Astana. The points,
they added like 350 points this week.
it's insane. They
They
didn't
didn't
win a
win
thing.
anything.
Nobody talked about them. But sure enough, it's crazy.
350. They were up by it's down in the thing, but I think they were up by like 120 last week, and they are up by like 470 this week. So they just keep adding to it.
Ridiculous. All right, on the women's side of the Trofeo Tessil and Moda Done, um, yet another win for our favorite girl, Elisa Longa Borghini, UAE ADQ. She was the best of a strong group of leaders at the end of this race. Marlon Roysa was with her, Brody Chapman, who's been on good form lately, Orska Zegart on good form, Malcati from Sarah Tizet, and Longa Borghini and Roysa get off the front with about 5Ks to go as the climb gets really, really steep. 3.2Ks to go, and Elisa, he's got separation from Roysa. She's on great form right now. She gets more of a consolation prize for her disappointing Worlds and Euros, racking up wins in the Italian tricolor.
Yep.
She's gets 12 seconds on Roysa and a half a kilometer, and nobody gets close. I was watching this on YouTube for some reason. Oh, I was watching a YouTube video of something else, and then I saw this was live. I think I was watching the replays of the gravel races, and then I saw this was live, so I just clicked onto it, and it had no commentary, and I'm like, man, this sucks. And I completely forgetting that this is on HBO Max and it's happening live. And I literally did not realize that until like 1 kilometer to go, and I switch over to HBO Max and I could hear. Meanwhile, like this, it is the world's worst live feed on YouTube. Like it's just a hot mess. Literally once every minute, they're cutting away to like the promotional videos and stuff, and I'm just like, what is going on here? This is ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, dumbass, go over to HBO Max and watch the race like you're supposed to be watching it right now. So,
I thought that in the race that the the Piedmont the
Grand Piemonte.
yes, they were doing all of these like Italian promo videos in the thing, and it's like, what? Like, come on.
Yeah, some of these companies are just like so wrapped up. They are going to get their pound of flesh out of that thing. I mean,
They
yeah,
had like that cutaway going with like, and it's in Italian for God's sake. So like, you can't even like, you don't even understand it.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, this is a great way to watch Eliza Longa Borghini cap off her season. She won the very first race day that she had this year over in the Emirates or wherever, and then she won the very last day of her season with this one. Pretty sick couple of bookends for the Italian champion. Um, as I mentioned before, she just looks so good on that bike with that white bike and everything.
Mm.
Roysa hangs on for second. Urska Zegart slides in for third place. Brody Chapman
What a
gets
great end of the season that Zegart's had, man.
yeah, yeah. Chapman basically set up ELB for this win and then still managed to hang on for fourth. Beautiful castle at the finish of this thing. Absolutely gorgeous. It was really cool. It's like on a hill,
I gotta
and
go
it's
back
just
and
got
watch it.
these stepped up like kind of gardens before you get to the castle. And the finish line was basically a road that was going straight towards the castle, and then it was like boom, finish line, come to a stop, and there's the castle right in front of you. And they had a drone shot um, that was right behind ELB as she's coming in, and as she's going underneath the gantry, the drone just like stops right in front of the gantry and she keeps going. And then you literally see it dip down, fly under the gantry, go up over her, and then it flies all the way to the castle. just like going over
All right,
everything.
I'm definitely going back and
It was
watching
really
the
cool.
race.
And you know, it's funny when you watch the head-on shot of her at the finish, the head-on wide shot, you totally see the drone like sitting up there above her head. You can see it come to a stop. She comes through the finish line, then you see it like dip down. You watch it. It's cool. You get to
I'm
see it from
definitely
both
gonna go
sides.
back and watch that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. All right, let's get into the 2025 UCI Gravel World Championships, something that I did not realize was happening this weekend until very late in the game, but I was quite glad to watch it because some good racing.
Yeah, let's talk about the men and then let's talk about the women because the women's race was, in my opinion, there's been some controversy. We'll just say so. Let's talk about the men first.
Um, yeah, not honestly, not a whole lot to talk about on the men's side. You had Florian Vermeersch of Belgium and Fritz Biesterbos of the Netherlands. Um, Out front basically for the last several dozen kilometers of this race. So, you know, not super exciting. I did enjoy the parkour. It was just like really cool how it was a gravel quote unquote race, but there was like a lot of riding on, you know, tractor paths and
Mm-hmm.
over grassy sections and stuff like that. It was a very mixed media kind of a course and super cool. No team cars. Like
Yeah, wildly.
you get used to like there always being team cars and you're watching this thing and they're like they're on a grassy path that's 4 feet wide. You're like, oh right, there's no automobiles at all following this race. It's all motorcycles, which is really cool.
It was great to see Matty Mahoric in the mix.
Yeah, I think he came third, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, and this Beaster Boss guy, I didn't really know anything about him, but he was quite fired up. I guess he must be more
Gravel rider.
of a straight gravel
Yeah.
rider, or cross rider, or something like that. Um, it was at one point that two it was Vermeersch and Beasterboss lapped one of the Dutch teammates on this course, and you heard the guy go, "Come on, boy!"
That's great. That's great. That's great. Well, I'm glad to see Florian Vermeersch get a big win, and it's pretty
You know
cool
what
that
the
he gets
trade
a.
you know what trade team he's on, right?
He's on Red Bull.
He's on UAE team
Oh,
member.
he
It's
is
that
on
would have been
UA.
yet another win for that team.
That's crazy. God, that's crazy.
Absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, man, that's a cool win. Now, in what I consider to be a much more interesting race, all right, on the women's side, sees our girl, all right, best in the world, Lorena Wiebes of the Netherlands, take yet another win.
Unbelievable.
The Dutch just dominate this race. They are on the front of this race the entire way. All right, and it's the controversy has come about Sharon Van Anroy and
Hmm.
whether or not they should have wrote
Oh,
her down the way that
I
they
mean,
did.
Vivas straight up cops to it right in the interview.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, you had Voss, Heritza, Reinbeck, and Vibis from the Duchies. I feel like there was another one that was in there as well. Um, um,
Van
oh,
Anroy.
oh yeah, and Casterline was in there
Yeah.
as well. So you had just like just orange jerseys everywhere. The only other person that I can remember doing much of anything was Silvia Persico of Italy.
Yes.
Um,
And she acquitted herself very well in this race. All right, considering what she was up against on that Dutch team, the fact that she was still able to pull out a podium is amazing. Because I thought for sure we were going to see a 1-2-3 with the Dutch.
Yeah, I mean the Dutch were all over the front of the race, but it was exciting. There was like lots of like lead changing happening, and it was three riders, and then it was five riders, and then it was four riders. There was a gap of 40 seconds that just disappeared down to 20 seconds in short order. Um, Van Anroy's on the attack with like 12 Ks to go. You got 10 Ks. Chasers are down to Voss, Wiebes, Kasserline, Persico, and Julia Kopecky from the Czech Republic.
Yep.
Van Anroy's like 10 seconds out in front. Um, 2 kilometers ago, Van and Royce held the lead, not by much. Vibus and Voss sprinted out against each other, and Persico slides in for a much-deserved third place. So in the post-race interview, uh, uh, Vibus reveals that her trade teammate, Julia Kopecky, was basically helping her. She said that Kopecky asked her if she could win the sprint, and she said yes. And so Kopecky went full gas to set her up. That's what she said.
So they did. They chased her down. They absolutely chased her down and stole the win from her. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy how trade team tactics can come into play.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Hey,
I mean,
I tell you what, I bet she has a real nice year. I bet she is well taken care of on that trade team.
yeah, because she's gonna get it, I guess, from the Czech Republic. I mean, it makes one wonders, will she be chosen for national teams in the future
Yes.
based on this? But at the same time, like, was Julia Kopecky gonna win? Was Julia Kopecky gonna beat Mariana Voss and
Sharon
uh,
Van Anroy? No, she wasn't.
and
And Persico?
Lorena Vivas? No,
No.
she wasn't.
She's
So
definitely not going to beat Weebus. Come on.
yeah, so interesting nonetheless. A very exciting race. Yeah, so I think from this entire week's worth of racing, it would be Perry Tours and this race right here that gave us the most excitement.
This was in that. There's something about that orange jersey, seeing Weebus next to Voss. I mean, she is a giant. I mean, she is
Hmm.
so big, man. And it's like, no wonder she's so friggin' dominant. I mean, she is a sight on that bike, man. She is formidable.
For sure. Um, yeah, good racing. Gravel World Championships. I need to get a gravel bike so bad. Um, I had one cycling related thing that I wanted to mention that I saw. The Vocalon to Ineos transfer
Yep, that's
has
in
been
mine.
finalized. And we will also be seeing Mavi Garcia working for Elisa Longa Borghini on Team UAE 80Q next year.
They're
And,
they're just
she's following off of some great form, Mavi Garcia.
yeah.
And
Well, and I think she'll do good to get away. She was on Movistar, right?
she was on Jayco.
Oh, Jacob.
But I think for the end of her career, this is where she's going to end her career. It's going to be pretty comfy for her.
Yeah, I would think. Also in transfer news, Ed Plankert was set to leave Alpecin and move over to Sidal Quickstep, and he is on a 3-year deal. He has decided to stay. He has decided that he would rather stay with Matthew Vanderpool's team than to leave. So he
Interesting.
backed out at the on the 11th hour on a 3-year deal to go over to Sudal.
That's interesting too, because Sudal is definitely
Yes.
orienting back towards their long-standing original mission of being a sprinting first team.
I don't know. I mean, it's like if I'm Ed Plankert, like how do you leave that team with Vanderpool and Philipsen? I mean, like especially
Yeah.
for what they do. I mean, that's a team built for that. Like
Oh, and Plankert almost got a win this year on the back of
yes,
Matthew Vanderpool. Let's not forget about. So
yes.
yeah,
The other kind of big, I don't know if it's transfer news or whatever you would call it, but George Bennett, Hugo Hofstetter, Nick Schultz, and Guillaume Boivin have officially decided to stay with the revamped Premier Tech team. Despite losing Riccatello and Derek G, who is revealed to be in $1 million lawsuit over his exit from the team, the team is like is restructuring behind the owner kind of taking a step back from things. It's also heavily rumored that because of the move last week with concerns to the name and the ownership, that it sounds like they are going to get Biniam on that team.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What else you got? Cycling news.
All right. Bradley Wiggins is coming out with a new book called The Chain. And when asked about the doping allegations with him, his quote was, "It'll come out." Someone chucked me. He claims that someone on Team Sky, quote unquote, chucked him under the bus to protect someone else from doping allegations. One of the interesting things that was in the book as well is that he admits to snorting cocaine off of his Olympic gold medal during the depths of his addiction. Hundreds of thousands of people, this is a quote, hundreds of thousands of people roaring me on, millions more watching at home. One of the great moments of London 2012, and there I am in a wardrobe snorting cocaine off my gold medal, mocking my achievement, hating it for what I believed it had brought me. It was the equivalent of pissing on someone's grave, and in that moment, I was pissing on my own.
Wow. You know what that makes me think of?
Hmm.
If you read the Slash book, um, he talks about how Guns N' Roses did that massive tour with the Rolling Stones.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Guns N' Roses like were coming off of Appetite for Destruction, about to like take over the entire world, and they did a big tour where they were the opening act for the Rolling Stones. And in that book, Slash is like so addicted to heroin while that tour is going on. He goes, go back and watch any kind of footage from those shows. He goes, the only time you will see me is when Guns N' Roses is on stage playing music. Because if we weren't doing that, I was somewhere with a needle in my arm. Like 100% of the time. He's like, go find footage to like the big like tour opening party. Find footage of after parties. Find any of that kind of stuff. He's like, I'm not in any of it. He goes, the I had to be there on stage to play the concerts to earn my living, but that was the extent of my obligation, and the rest of the time I was shooting smack.
That's crazy.
So crazy.
That is crazy. But very interesting to hear him say that. I mean, he's definitely part of that Austin cycling crew. So
Hmm.
I'm interested to find out who Team Sky was protecting. So it'll be interesting when that comes out. So I'm sure we'll talk about it when that becomes made public. Um, so standings, real quick. We'll just run through that. Um, no change in the standings, but pretty much everybody that's on the upper end of it has made gains. With Cofidis definitely on the outside looking in with 337 in the rears to Uno X Mobility, and if the Intermarché merger happens, then for sure it looks like Uno X is going to be in there with just very few race days left in the season. So Astana obviously is in, Jayco is in, Picnic Postanel, Intermarché, and Uno X. So, or whatever iteration of Intermarché that there is next year. So, you know, very very interesting race. For these points over the last few, and it's I'm glad to see that Astana has not taken their foot off the gas. I mean, so sorry. I had said that they. So I had misspoke on the podcast. They increased their lead by 350. They actually added almost 700 points last week.
Wow.
Yeah. So
All right.
let's go on to some non-cycling stuff. I wanted to ask you real quick before we launch into the couple of things that you have here. Did you watch Saturday Night Live?
No, haven't caught up with it yet.
I'll be
I've heard from one person that was like kind of the same as last week. Not that great.
not funny. Yeah. So here's my opinion, and you can take this as you will. The produced bits were pretty funny. Everything live was pretty much not, and even down to I didn't even think Weekend Update was that strong, and that's typically been the strong point, you know,
What
throughout.
about like Polar doing Pam Bondi and stuff like that? Was that not?
It was okay.
Hmm,
It was okay.
okay.
Um, for whatever reason, I feel like, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. It felt like every person on the cast was like screaming at the camera this week. When you go back and watch it, it's just like everybody is like way over the top,
Hmm,
like
interesting.
more so than normal. I don't know. Like just I'll be interested to hear your opinion. We can talk about it later in the week.
Yeah, I will. I'll text you about it after I get a chance to watch it.
All right. So what else, what do you
Um,
got?
well, I definitely wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about Mark Maron. Um, he is one of the OG podcasters. Has been his show has been going for 15 odd years, something like that. He's like just like one of the early adopters of the medium.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a buddy back in Pensacola years ago, like when I first got into podcasts, he was like way into it, and he would throw out podcasts to me. Oh, you should check this out. You should check that out. And like damn near every one he told me to check out has just become an absolute juggernaut. This guy just had his finger on the pulse. He was one of those kind of guys, and he he turned me on to WTF back in the day, which is Marin's podcast. And when the podcast started, he was a guy who was a sort of not real successful comedian and was spinning his wheels and didn't know what to do. And somebody told him about this medium podcasting, and he decided, yeah, you know what? Screw it. It sounds like it's a pretty low barrier to entry. Um, you just got to get a little bit of equipment, and we can start doing this thing, kind of like we did.
Yeah,
And
and he has an opinion.
he has an opinion, and he also, in the beginning, all he really had cachet wise was a lot of famous friends because he came up in comedy with a lot of guys who were really starting to pop off
Mm-hmm.
at the time, your Louis C.K. era type guys. Um, and so when he started it off, he was just talking to other comedians, basically bringing them over to his house, sitting down and having a heartfelt conversation between two comedians. He would feature them, go through their career and stuff like that, but they would also talk about their shared past. Um, he got into it with some of his old buddies, and especially Louis C.K. I remember that episode was like, you know, um, Louis C.K. kind of lashed out at him a little bit because like he felt like he wasn't a good friend to him when he could have used a good friend. And that was sort of the beauty of that show is
Mm-hmm.
Marin would you know it was warts and all. And after he'd pretty much talked to every comedian that he needed to, wanted to, could get, etc. 100 odd episodes in, well, then he just started talking to anybody, people that interested him. So that meant a lot of actors, some directors,
Mm-hmm.
some artists, some radio personalities, historians, just different people along the way. And he's now done like 1,600 plus episodes, and is ending his show. In fact, he just put out the last episode of his show today, this morning. It just dropped. So um, last week, he does two shows a week. So and I should say, in the midst of him getting this podcast going, it opened up tons of doors to him. So now the guy, he's like
Mm-hmm.
huge. He's he's got an acting career going. He has been in some big major movies. He has done a ton of voice acting.
Well, I
He's like
told
one
you
of the
he's
bad.
he's great in Stick. I mean, he is
Yeah,
great.
he's one of the voices of the bad guys. He's done several TV series. Sky's the limit. He's directed movies, and right now there's like a ton of content dropping about him. I mean, he put a new stand-up special out. There's a documentary film about him that's coming out very soon, and of course he's been doing a lot of press around the ending of his show. But for the show itself, um, he's his third to last show was Matt Groening, pretty huge. Um, and if you know Mark Maron well, you'll know that like he was way into like underground comics and stuff like that, that whole scene. So he and Groening are a natural fit for each other to have a really rich conversation because they could get deep down those alt comic rabbit holes, which was really cool. And then considering, just like what a complete cultural touchstone The Simpsons is, perfect set of companions for a show. And it was great, really awesome episode. So then on that episode, he said, "All right, I got 2 episodes left, folks. My second to last episode is going to be just me on the mic talking and reflecting on the show." He was like, "And then my final episode, I'm going to have a big guest for you. Not going to tell you who it is." Right. So I go into the weekend thinking, all right, he's going to drop that second to last episode on Friday. And my thought was, you know what? I want to go on a nice bike ride over the weekend with the leaves changing colors. And I want to listen to just old Mark Maron and me out there on the road in my ear. So that's what I did for that episode. And honestly, it was pretty no frills. It was very short, and he just kind of went over a few things. But we've heard all of his stuff 1,000 times, so it's not like there was a lot that we needed to learn in that show. But it was nice. And he still didn't say who his big final guest was. So I wake up this morning and I look at my podcast feed, and lo and behold, he has dropped his final episode. And who is the guest? Barack Obama. And I'm just like, really? That's the guy? Somebody who, number one, he's already interviewed, which was like this great big deal on his show, like 8 years ago or something, when Barack Obama came to his little like bungalow in California and sat in the garage and the whole deal. The Secret Service was out there, et cetera, et cetera. He was president at the time. um, and now it's just like the dude is irrelevant, and like, really, that's like, come on, Marin, because like just recently Mark Maron has been all over the news because he was outspoken about all these douchebags going on this Riyadh comedy festival, right? It was like him and David Cross, like a couple of the guys that you could rely on to keep speaking truth to power, are out there being like, "This is lame. These guys are all just going for a cash grab. It's pretty pathetic that you're going to go over there and just like take this dirty oil money from this like brutal regime." And I'm just like, heck yeah, man, Mark Maron keeping it real to the end. And then for his last show, he's going to bring on Barack Obama. Let's remember, Barack Obama is the guy who is the king of drone warfare, just a war guy in general. 2 wars when he came into office, 7 wars, 7 active wars when he left. He's the guy who really helped expand the surveillance state in this country. He closed the door on universal health care by basically turning everything over to private insurers. Didn't do anything to help the people with Obamacare. It was all about the insurance companies. Extended temporary status to the Dreamer Act kids, the DACA kids, but never got that thing over the finish line. And worst of all, kind of balanced the budget, but never took anything from the corporate class. He never did a damn thing to take any kind of money out of the corporate class, out of the elite class. He's a shill for the elites in this country. Not a good president. And what a disappointment to see that. So I love Mark Maron. I've been with that show basically since they were in double-digit episodes, almost since the beginning. I've listened to basically every single episode. I've followed his career outside of the podcast. Um, it's a big disappointment, but there's a small silver lining, because I also listened in the past 24 hours to the most recent episode of a podcast that you're very familiar with, Blank Check, the movie podcast about auteur filmmakers who are handed a blank check. And they are doing the Coen Brothers right now. I think I've recently spoken about it on this show. And for their episode on their Coen Brothers movie, A Serious Man, their guest was one Mark Maron. And that was
Interesting.
a perfect choice. And what was so great about this, and this is what I'm going to kind of recommend to fans of that show, if you are a fan of WTF and you, like I, are very disappointed by the choice of Barack Obama as the final guest, which I haven't even listened to the show, honestly. I will, but I haven't listened to it yet. Do yourself a favor and check out the Blank Check podcast, and their episode on A Serious Man, the film by the Coen Brothers, because Marin has talked at length about that show throughout the years of his podcast since that movie came out. I should say, has talked at length about that movie. It's a movie that's like very, very close to him, so he was naturally a perfect fit to be the guest for that show anyways. But Blank check. Griffin Newman, David Sims, those guys are huge, huge fans of WTF and have been listening to that podcast for a long time.
Interesting.
And they were so just like complimentary to Marin in that episode. They gave him the send off that I felt like he deserved. They were doing parodies of the opening of the show, the closing of the show, like they were basically like doing they turned their show into a giant homage of his show. And it was heartfelt, it was really warm, and it was just like that's exactly what I wanted for the finish of Mark Maron's podcast was that podcast, to be honest.
It would have been cool for him to flip the script for his final show and have him be the guest.
Well, it's kind of what he did for
Yeah.
the second to last one.
Yeah, but
Um,
having somebody there,
oh, have somebody else come in and
yes,
interview him. Well, and there's
so
a
that it's
couple of
a
like
so that
white whales out
it's so
there.
that it's still following the same formula. But now the flip on it is I'm the guest. You know, what would you ask me?
Yeah, I think he may have done that at some point along the way. He may have done one of those kind of episodes because that's like kind of a thing. I've
Mhm.
seen other podcasts that have done that as well. In fact, he did it with Terry Gross on Fresh Air, where he was the interviewer and he interviewed Terry Gross.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, somebody like a Terry Gross would have been a great choice
Yeah.
for a final one. Or honestly, take it just take it back to the beginning and just like grab one of your old comedy buddies
Hmm.
and just chop it up that way. Like take the show back to what it was. Two guys sitting in a room like working it out, you know? Bring Louis CK on there and fucking see how far you guys have gotten with each other. You know, something, but Barack fucking Obama, lame. So freaking lame. Very disappointed by that. But if you need a little soothing balm, just check out Blank Check, A Serious Man. I mean, that's a great podcast anyways. We've mentioned that podcast many times. Um, and that's a great movie by the Coen brothers, and it's a great episode, and it will give you everything you are looking for in terms of farewell to Mark Maron. But he is one of the all-time greats. I'm sure he'll still be in our lives in different ways. But I will greatly miss that podcast. That is for darn sure, because I've probably referred to interviews and things that I've heard people saying in that show 1,000 times over the years. So yeah, so I think that is about all I have. You got anything else?
No. The only thing is, and I know that I've told you, but Peacemaker wrapped up. Um, I am gonna pester you to watch that show until you watch it. I really am.
Okay. All right.
It is that good in my
How
opinion.
how many episodes is it?
You have 8 for each season.
How many seasons?
2.
16 episodes. Good lord.
I'm
We'll
telling you
see.
though, man. Once you get into it, you're gonna peel them off, man. I'm telling you. It's
Okay.
super engaging and it's like so well done. And the arc, I'm telling you, man, dude. Like, and I never thought I'd say this about Goofy John Cena, but like he does a really great job, dude. And the father son relationship arc that he has with uh it's the guy who's the actor that was the T-1000 in Terminator 2. What's that guy's
Robert
name?
Patrick.
Robert Patrick is his dad. And
Oh, interesting.
it's so good. It just like and they're very like opposite end of the spectrum, and Robert Patrick plays this like extremely like racist, like mean father,
I've heard
and
that about. I've heard some
like
talk about that particular relationship in general
and it's
on that show.
oh man, it's so damn good. It really is. And then there's peripheral characters in the show that are just so fun. Like it's really well done, man. It was extremely good, and it left me absolutely like ready for season 3. Like, and I'm glad that it seems like they're not stopping because it's a very good show, and the
Wow,
music is
third season.
freaking unbelievable.
All right, you're getting me closer to wanting to check it out. That made me think of something when you said the father-son relationship. I will in the future be talking about something that I saw this week, which is Paul Thomas Anderson's latest movie, One Battle After Another. Um,
Very,
with
I've almost
with
like to have a whole conversation on that because I haven't watched it. I do want to watch it, and I've heard like very like juxtaposing things about that movie.
As have I absolutely need to watch it again. I in fact I don't even really want to offer any opinions about this movie until I watch it again. I have to say I was so hyped for this movie because of the rapturous reviews that every single one of my critics had given it, that I just I just had my expectations too high, I think, and I felt quite disappointed. And it wasn't like, I mean, I walked away from it like, wow, that was a really good movie, and yet I did not have the feeling that I was hoping for. Um, I had very purposefully not listened to a couple of podcast episodes, namely from the Big Picture podcast that I listen to very regularly, uh, because they said almost right off the bat, the first time they started talking about that movie, that they were going to spoil it. They then put out two additional episodes specifically about that movie because they wanted to keep talking about it. And in each of those, they were like, yeah, we're going to spoil it this time. Well, all three of those episodes had dropped before I got a chance to catch up with the movie. So I hadn't listened to any of them. So I watched the movie and I'm like, okay, I gotta listen to these episodes because I need somebody to explain to me what it is that I'm missing here that has caused all my critics to be so rapturous over this. And having listened to the episodes, I am now like, okay, yes, I need to go back and watch this thing again because I think I was just kind of I wasn't connecting some dots. Um, I heard a very interesting take from this critic named Van Lathan about it. That he's a black guy and he was not happy with the treatment of black women in this movie. And it should be noted that Paul Thomas Anderson is married to Maya Rudolph,
Mm-hmm.
of former SNL fame. Um, they have mixed race daughters together, and this is a father daughter movie about a mixed race father daughter. Um, like a white father and a mixed race
Right.
daughter. Um, so one would think that Paul Thomas Anderson would be uniquely positioned to give that sort of subject matter the kind of treatment that it deserves,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of respect that it deserves. But Van Lathan did not feel that way, and it was quite interesting hearing this guy because he was sitting in a room full of people that were just like over the moon for this movie, and he was like, nah, and made no bones about pushing back hard on it. So with all of that swirling around in my mind, I am keen to go back and watch it. So after you have had at least a chance to watch it once and I've seen it again, we'll make it a full blown topic for Beyond
Okay. I'm
one of
all
these
for
days.
that.
Yeah, it was, and then I also need to tell you about what happened to me at a concert that I went to the same night that I watched that movie. But I'll save that for when we're off mics.
Okay.
However, towards that end, to my friend Alan, who I went to the concert with, if you are listening, let me once again and in a very public way offer you my sincere apologies and my everlasting thanks for being such a true friend to me that night. That's all I'm saying. Uh,
On that note,
on that note, we're going to say goodbye. Thanks for joining us here for another episode of Beyond the Slipstream, and we'll be sliding into your feed with another episode of the Team Bus in a couple of days. Ale.
Ale.
Beyond the Slipstream is a companion to the Team Bus and is produced by Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like, subscribe, leave a review, and tell your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Ale!